Good morning. Welcome to our virtual service. My name is James Parker. Thank you for being here. Well, let's get started. My lesson title today is In God We Trust. Today we are presenting Alicia's miracles of healing and prosperity. Friends, what is a miracle? A miracle is an unexpected, unanticipated, and seemingly impossible positive outcome to some extreme challenge. In the book of 2 Kings, the prophet Elisha performed miracles in simple, matter-of-fact ways. His story is captivating. He performed similar miracles to the ones Jesus later did. In fact, the name Elisha metaphysically represents divine order, for he created order wherever he went. Bible commentators all over often refer to him as having the same potential as Jesus. And although some of his miracles relate to military battles fought by the people of Israel, most were miracles of healing and prosperity. In 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 9, when Elijah ascended at the end of his earthly life, Elisha took over his power and began performing miracles. Traditionally, Hebrews name the characters in the Bible for qualities that a particular character represented. The Elisha quality is that of awareness of the indwelling Christ, an awareness that God's presence is Savior, rescuer. In other words, Elisha trusted God's indwelling presence completely, and from that place of complete trust and awareness of God as Savior and source, rescuer, he either performed the miracles himself or gave directions to others, and the miracles happened when challenging situations arose. Do you trust God? Are you focusing your consciousness and spiritual powers on the presence of Source to meet your needs? Or are you haphazardly seeking comfort and answers from someone or something in the external? Are you poised, at peace, and giving your thoughts and attention to your Source? Or are you acting out of fear, emotion, anger, frustration, and error or ego thinking? One of my favorite stories regarding Elisha is the widow and the oil, where the wife of a seminary student came to Elisha to tell him of her husband's death. Her husband had loved and served God, but he died owing money to a creditor, and the creditor was threatening to make her and her two sons slaves in exchange for the debt. Back then, there was no bankruptcy. If you failed or your partner failed to pay a debt, you and your household became the property of the creditor. In the story, Elisha first asked her, what shall I do? When she did not answer, he asked her, how much food do you have in your house? The widow answered, we have nothing at all except a small jar of olive oil. Elisha told her that she and her sons should borrow as many jars and pots from the neighbors as they could, and then take them into the house with them and close the door. Once they were in the house with the door closed, she was to pour the oil from her small jar into the other containers. Without questioning or disbelief, she did as she was directed. And you know what happened. Miraculously, the oil continued pouring out of her small jar until all the vessels were filled. She was amazed and ran to tell Elisha what had happened. He told her to go and sell the oil to pay the debt, and there would still be enough left over for her and her sons to live on. And she did. Elisha knew that with an awareness of God as source, there is no lack. But the widow could only see the appearance of her limits and need. Yet by changing her experience, she changed her mind about possibilities. Elisha didn't do it for her, but he advised her on what to do while he completely trusted God's unlimited supply appearing. He knew that God is Savior, that whatever the need, all would be taken care of, that God is a presence to help us, an indwelling spirit to whom we need only turn to and acknowledge. It was such a natural, strong knowing with him that he must have wondered why others didn't ask God to take care of them instead of running to him. In the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, it says, Elisha's character and his marvelous works are easily recognized as proceeding from the same Spirit that inspired Jesus. Friends, the Christ Spirit is within each of us, awaiting our conscious acknowledgement of its indwelling presence. If we acknowledge that the indwelling Christ is potentially within each of us, we have but to ask, believing as we ask, and the miracles can manifest in God's own way. How often do you say, I don't have much? Maybe I can write a little. Possibly I can cook a little. I have moments of being creative, or maybe I can teach a little, sing a little, love a little. What are your current expectations? What do you fear? What are you dwelling on? For the vibration of your thoughts attracts like experiences. Remember the widow. The only thing she had to start was with a bit of oil and Elisha's great trust in God. The demonstration here is for us to understand that if we use what we have, whatever resources or talents we have, and dedicate ourselves to expressing our truth and love of spirit, making our lives and subsequently the world a better and more joyous place, we can watch those resources or talents multiply. Friends, what do you love to do? Whatever it is, lovingly do it with an awareness of where the power for your unique gifts come from, and you will prosper and find satisfaction in miraculous ways. Now let's for a moment look at Elisha's miracle of raising the dead child as an example of healing and prosperity power. A prominent woman was asked by Elisha what he could do for her. She asked for nothing, but Elisha's servant mentioned that she had no son. Elisha called her in and declared to her, next year, about this time, you will have a son. Before the year was over, Elisha's prophecy came true, and she and her husband had a son. When the child was older and was working in the field beside his father, he became sick. His father had a servant carry him home to the mother, but the child worsened and died in his mother's arms. His mother quietly took the dead child upstairs and laid him on the bed. Then, telling no one what had happened, she rode to Mount Carmel where Elisha was. She refused to tell anyone but Elisha of her child's death. Elisha sent his servant ahead of him to the woman's house to lay his staff on the child's face for healing, but nothing happened. The mother refused to leave for home until Elisha finally went with her. When they arrived, Elisha went in alone and shut the door, and he prayed over the dead child. Then he stretched out on top of the child, and the child's body began to grow warmer, but still the child was dead. Elisha went downstairs and walked around and prayed some more, and then went up again and stretched out on the child again to warm his body. This time, the child sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. Elisha threw open the door and called the mother in and said, "Here is your son." And the child was alive and whole again. What happened in this miracle story? In the Bible, the female characters represent our intuitive, feeling nature, while the male characters represent our intellect, thinking side. In this case, intuition knew that the power of God, represented by Elisha, could restore the physical body of her child to life. She shut the door and avoided telling anyone who might discount her belief, even the child's father, who represented logic. Instead, she went immediately and directly to Elisha, who first sent his representative and then came himself to call forth healing within the child's body, within the child of her dreams. Elisha was persistent in his attempts to resurrect the child. He persisted when his servant failed and when his first attempt was not successful. He continued trusting God until the miraculous resurrection of the child was accomplished. Tell me, what secret dreams of your life have you allowed to die? I mean, what secret desires have you not entrusted to God to breathe life into them, to make them manifest? Have you decided it's too late to do that? Which you secretly have desired to do? Or thought that you're not smart enough, not good enough, not strong enough, or not rich enough? When will you take the risk to persistently go to the Christ within you, shutting the door on doubt and fear? When will you, matter of fact, when will I wake up to the miracle working presence of God right here within us, waiting to be called forth? Friends, the Bible tells us that Elisha performed many miracles. He multiplied food for his followers, even as Jesus did later with the loaves and fishes. He changed poisoned food into edible food. He healed the leper Naaman. He found water in the desert where there was none. But in all of his miracles, he declared the truth in God's name and matter-of-factly did the works or gave the directions for others to do them based on his trust in God. Elisha knew that he and God were not separate. He knew that it was the beloved Father, Mother God within that doeth the works, even as Jesus said of the miracles he performed later. What about you? Your heart's desires come from the inner Christ. Trust the Christ to guide you in fulfilling them. Close the door of your mind to doubt and fear. Concentrate and focus on that which you desire. Speak the affirmative words, believing even as you speak. Do not be discouraged if the desired result doesn't happen immediately. Persevere. Be grateful. Give credit to God and take action. If you do, I promise you, you will manifest healing and prosperity. You will reach your goals and be inspired to go even further. And you will be infused with miracle-like powers to turn every unexpected, unanticipated, and seemingly impossible situation or challenge into a positive and spirit-filled outcome. Friends, are you willing to do this with me today? Well, thank you all, and God bless you.